They thought they had won the dream. One moment, life was ordinary, bills stacked on the kitchen counter, a car with more rust than paint, a job that barely paid the rent. Then, with a scratch of a ticket or the ping of a lottery machine, everything changed. Millions of dollars, delivered in an instant. Strangers became celebrities overnight. Neighbors cheered, cameras flashed, and the winners held oversized checks with tears streaming down their faces. This is it, they thought. Life will never be the same. And they were right. Life would never be the same. But not in the way they imagined. Because here's the shocking truth. 7 out of 10 lottery winners end up broke. Some file for bankruptcy within just a few years. Some spiral into depression, addiction, or worse. The money that was supposed to set them free became the very chain that destroyed them. How does this happen? How can millions disappear faster than the salaries they once complained about? And most importantly, what does it teach us about money, wealth, and the hidden traps we all face, even without a winning ticket? This is the story of why sudden fortune so often turns into sudden ruin, and why the dream of easy money is usually a nightmare in disguise. Take the story of Jack Whitaker. In 2002, he won over $300 million in the Powerball lottery. At first, it seemed like a fairy tale. He donated to churches, built houses, handed out cash to strangers. Cameras followed him, journalists praised him. He was the hero of small-town America. But behind the curtain, things unraveled. His fortune attracted thieves, lawsuits, and even tragedy within his family. He spent recklessly, trusted the wrong people, and discovered that sudden money doesn't erase problems. It amplifies them. Within just a few years, most of his winnings were gone, and his life was darker than before the jackpot. Or consider Abraham Shakespeare, who won $30 million in Florida. Within 3 years, he was murdered, a victim of greed, manipulation, and the dangerous magnetism of sudden wealth. These aren't isolated cases. Time and again, lottery winners find themselves not living a dream, but trapped in a nightmare. Some end up bankrupt. Others lose their marriages, their friends, their peace of mind. The headlines love the big win. They rarely cover the aftermath. But if you look closely, a grim pattern emerges. Money can destroy those who never learned how to respect it. Because wealth without wisdom isn't freedom. It's gasoline poured on an open flame. Why does this happen? Why do people who dream their whole lives of winning end up losing it all? The answer begins long before the lottery ticket. Most winners spend decades in financial struggle. They live paycheck to paycheck, drowning in bills, borrowing when they shouldn't, spending when they can't afford to. Their relationship with money is built on survival, not growth. Then, overnight, they're handed a mountain of cash. But here's the problem. The habits didn't change. The mindset didn't change. The lottery gives them money, but not the discipline to manage it. Think of it this way. If someone cannot handle $100, how can they handle 10 million? If every paycheck slips through their fingers, why would millions be different? The truth is harsh. Money doesn't fix behavior. It magnifies it. A spender becomes a bigger spender. A gambler becomes a bigger gambler. A person who never learned to save or invest now has more opportunities to destroy themselves faster. That's why sudden wealth is like handing the keys of a race car to someone who never learned to drive. It doesn't lead to freedom. It leads to disaster. And yet, people keep dreaming that one lucky ticket will solve everything. But luck without preparation is just another trap. The first thing most lottery winners do? They spend, and not just a little. Luxury cars roll into their driveways. Mansions appear overnight. Shopping sprees in designer stores, parties that last until sunrise, gifts for every relative and friend who suddenly remembers their number. At first, it feels intoxicating. After years of scraping by, finally they can say yes to everything. No price tag feels real anymore. $10,000 on a weekend trip? Why not? $1 million house? Easy. But here's the trap. Money feels infinite until it isn't. Property taxes on the mansion, insurance on the cars, staff for the estate, the expenses don't stop. And the more they buy, the more their costs snowball. Suddenly, the fortune that looked endless is bleeding out faster than they can imagine. Add in the pressure from family and friends. Everyone wants a slice. Can you just help me out? Can you cover this? You've got more than enough. The guilt wears them down, and the checks keep flowing out. Within a few years, what once felt like a kingdom becomes a crumbling castle. The cars lose value, the houses drain resources, the friends disappear when the money dries up. The greatest irony: many winners end up worse off than before they won, because at least before, they knew how to live with little. Now they've tasted excess and lost it all. Here's the part nobody expects. Money doesn't just bring luxury, it brings pressure. Suddenly, every relationship changes. Old friends see you differently. Some treat you like a bank. Some resent you. Others vanish, replaced by strangers who appear out of nowhere, eager to help you spend it. Trust becomes impossible. Who likes you for you, and who likes you for your wallet? Then comes the isolation. Parties that once felt exciting become exhausting. Endless requests for loans, donations, investments drain the soul. Even family bonds strain under the weight of money. Psychologists call it sudden wealth syndrome. Anxiety, depression, and loneliness skyrocket among lottery winners. Some report feeling more trapped than before they had money. The dream becomes a gilded cage. And here's the cruelest twist. The money that was supposed to remove stress often multiplies it. Bills are bigger, responsibilities heavier, mistakes more expensive. Winners who once lived quietly now carry the weight of public attention, lawsuits, and even threats. Many turn to destructive habits to cope. Addiction, gambling, reckless spending, the very behaviors that accelerate their downfall. Instead of a life of freedom, many winners find themselves prisoners of fortune, rich in cash, but bankrupt in peace. Because money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy wisdom, purpose, or trust. But not every story ends in tragedy. A few winners prove that money, in the right hands, can become a blessing. Take Richard Lustig, one of the rare people who not only won multiple lotteries, but managed to grow his fortune. How? He treated his winnings not as a license to spend, but as an opportunity to invest. Instead of blowing it on luxuries, he built assets that generated income. Or consider the Canadian couple Alan and Violet Large. They won millions, but instead of chasing mansions or cars, they quietly donated most of it to hospitals, charities, and neighbors in need. Their lives barely changed. They understood that money could enhance their values, not replace them. What separates these rare successes from the disasters? It isn't luck. They already had the right habits before the check arrived. They knew how to budget, how to resist greed, how to see beyond the instant gratification. That's the hidden truth. Wealth doesn't change you. It amplifies you. If you are wise, patient, and disciplined, money gives you more tools to succeed. If you are careless, reckless, or insecure, money accelerates your downfall. The lottery doesn't create new people. It reveals who you really are. And that's why only a small fraction of winners keep their fortune, because discipline cannot be bought. So what is the real lesson here? It's not about luck. It's not about a winning ticket. It's about preparation. The lottery exposes a truth that applies to all of us. Money without discipline is a curse, not a blessing. Think about it. The person who spends recklessly at a small salary will spend recklessly with millions. The one who never saves at $100 will never save at 1 million. The lottery is just a magnifying glass. It doesn't give people new habits. It blows up the old ones until they can no longer be ignored. That's why nearly 70% of winners end up broke. Not because the money wasn't enough, but because the people weren't ready. Compare this to slow wealth. The person who builds through saving, investing, and patience learns how to manage money as they go. Every stage of growth teaches them discipline. By the time their wealth is large, they've already trained the habits to sustain it. That's the difference between a fortune that lasts a lifetime and one that vanishes in a few years. The lottery shows us the cruelest truth in finance. If you haven't mastered yourself, no amount of money will save you. Imagine two roads. On the first, you win the lottery. Overnight, millions pour into your account. No effort, no habits, no preparation. It feels like magic. But beneath the shine, the ground is unstable. The money flows out faster than it came in. Relationships twist, stress builds, and the dream cracks into pieces. On the second road, there is no magic ticket. Just small, steady steps, saving, investing, building discipline. At first, it feels slow, even boring. No headlines, no giant checks, no crowds cheering. But as the years pass, something stronger emerges: stability, habits, confidence, and eventually wealth that lasts. One road looks easy but ends in ruin. The other looks hard but ends in freedom. The tragedy? Most people chase the first. They crave instant riches, believing money alone will fix their problems. They forget that money doesn't erase who you are, it amplifies it. The truth is brutal but empowering. You don't need to win the lottery to build wealth. In fact, not winning might be the better blessing, because it forces you to grow into the kind of person who can handle it. And when you finally reach your goals, you don't just have money, you have the wisdom to keep it. That's the path worth walking. Here is the truth. Winning the lottery doesn't make you rich. It just makes you loud. It shines a spotlight on habits, fears, and weaknesses that were already there, and magnifies them until they explode. That's why nearly 70% of winners end up broke. Not because millions weren't enough, but because no amount of money is enough without discipline, patience, and vision. But you don't need a winning ticket. You don't need lightning to strike. You already hold the tool more powerful than luck: time. $5 a day, invested with patience, can beat the wildest lottery odds. It won't happen overnight. And that's exactly why it works. Because slow money builds strong habits, and strong habits build unshakable wealth. So stop waiting for luck. Stop hoping for a miracle. The jackpot you're looking for isn't in a lottery machine. It's in your daily choices, your discipline, your ability to say not yet today so you can say I'm free tomorrow. Most people will dream about sudden fortune and end up with sudden regret. But you don't have to be most people. Start small. Start now. Because the slow road may not get the headlines, but it gets you the freedom the lottery can never buy.